think we are live. Yes. Sabaho, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and, welcome back to the Amazon live stream. Going to lower the volume ever so slightly. My name is TK Bay. I'm I'm part of the influencer program here over on Amazon Live. And today we're back for another live stream. It is Thursday evening, as it is typical for me. I think I'm pretty much cornered the timing of this. Every Thursday evening, roughly about 8 o'clock or so, I get back to you guys with another live stream. And today we're going to talk about a budget device from TCL. TCL is a company, actually, you probably already are familiar with their products. You've probably heard of the Roku TVs, the 4K TVs that are generally very good on the budget. They're budget friendly, as well as being basically very good in the sense that they incorporate Roku as a streaming service. Let me go ahead and turn off the music. And that's one of the main things that a lot of people will actually recognize TCL from. And of course, now they're coming in the US, they've released two devices, specifically the brand new TCL 10L and the 10 Pro. Both of these devices actually became officially available on Amazon as of the 19th. And of course, today we're going to be showcasing the 10L. The 10L is considered to be the budget-friendly version of the devices. There's actually two devices, as I mentioned. There's a third one, actually, that was the TCL 10 5G that they initially announced they showed it to us back at CES 2020 in Las Vegas, but unfortunately that one's not coming into the US. So let's go ahead and focus today on the 10L, and specifically because this is about $250, $249.99, and this device is promising to give you basically a good experience from a manufacturer of TVs that you've come to know and love. And again, they're really well known here over on Amazon, of course, during all the holidays, and of course they sell for really good pricing. Great bang for the buck on TVs, and of course we're going to see today how they do on smartphones. Hopefully next week I'll be able to bring you guys as well the 10 Pro. But today we'll go ahead and focus specifically on the 10L. We're going to go ahead and do an unboxing. We're going to check it out. We're going to see some of the main features about this device. I'm going to share with you guys some pictures from it. How does it actually perform as far as gaming? And of course, overall, just kind of aesthetics. Is it worth $250? Is it something that you should consider? And of course, what are the options that you may find on this device that even flagships today still don't have? But let's not waste any time. Again, before we dive too far into this, I do want to share with you guys real quick. If you're to be able to connect with me, the best way, obviously, I am a YouTube content creator. You can find me as TK Bay over on YouTube. Just type in TKBAY. And of course, TKDSL8655 on Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter. I'm actually pretty well engaged on Twitter if you'd like to connect with me there at TKDSL8655. And of course, today we are again going to talk about this guy. This is the brand new TCL 10L, and you can kind of already see some of the coloring that's going in there. And of course, we're going to do the quick unboxing. So let's go ahead and switch over to the overhead. And before I go too far, let me just double check. Yeah, cool. So I already have the actual device highlighted. It's the only product under this channel today. Let's go ahead and switch over real quick, and let's look at some of the specifications about this as it is listed currently on Amazon. So what you'll see first and foremost, let's go and go back to the main image. It pretty much just comes in one color, and that's the color that I have. Even though the box that I'm showing you guys tonight has a slightly different color, I think that was closer to the one we saw for the 10 5G. So it's the TCL 10L. It's an unlocked Android device, which means it will work with any GSM carrier in the US. It will support 4G LTE. There is no 5G here, so just be aware of that. It is a 6.53-inch Full HD IPS LCD panel. So essentially, it's a big 6.5-inch display with, of course, 1080p resolution. 4 cameras on the back, a 48-megapixel quad rear camera system, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Internal storage is 64 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigs of RAM, and you are able to expand the storage with an SD card, which is also supported on this device. A massive 4,000 milliamp battery, and again, all for $249.99. Again, still in the concept of the way TCL has done it, and they've always done it, which essentially is give you a lot of benefit for not so much money. Now, Keep in mind, it is available through Prime. Obviously, free shipping if you are a Prime member, and if not, you can definitely try the service and see how that works for you. I do want to mention, though, that it does seem to be, it will be in stock on the 25th, which is a little bit about 4 days from now. So as soon as it's in stock, they'll be able to ship it to you, which essentially means by the 27th if you're trying to ship it to my house. But again, very nice, very good. And of course, as I said, it does come in one color. And you can see here basically the different aesthetics and the information. It's a large display. And of course, the camera setup, as I mentioned to you guys in the back, the main camera is a 48 megapixel sensor. It's a high-res sensor, an 8 megapixel wide-angle lens, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and of course another 2 megapixel depth sensor. And that gives us the ability of having some really good, basically a bokeh effect. It's basically depth of field. The processor that we're running here is actually, this one is a little bit off on the finding. I think this one is coming from the TCL 10 Pro. It is actually the Snapdragon 665, so I just want to make sure that this was corrected. It is not the 675 on the 10L, it's the 665. Again, 64 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM, NFC, of course, for payment if you'd like to use Google Pay, and of course, out of the box with Android 10.0, the latest and greatest from Google. So you can check it out. There's some additional information. They talk about the NTX Vision, their technology that enables the images and the videos to look so much better on your display. The cameras, of course, the different technologies, and all the different specifications that you are, of course, will be enjoying over there. Let's go ahead and switch back to me. And yeah, this is something that is very unique to TCL. It's the ability of actually providing you basically a premium experience at a budget-friendly price. Now, the display is an IPS panel, but I can assure you that for the $250, as far as the price point, you're not going to basically miss out on a lot. You're getting a big display. You're getting a decent processor. It's a 6 series processor from Qualcomm. No 5G, but the 4G LTE connectivity that we have here obviously works really nice. I currently, where I tested it out on T-Mobile here, so it works really nice for me. And of course, it'll work with AT&T. Unfortunately, no Verizon, and it's, to my understanding, no Sprint as well. So although Sprint and T-Mobile kind of merged, so we'll have to see how that goes. But let's go ahead and switch over to the actual device. Let's see how that one looks. And here we are. So let's go ahead and get in there. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh, hey, my buddy Aditya is in the chat. Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, okay. So with that, let's go ahead and start looking at the box. Again, this is the 10L. As you can see here, the color on the box is a little bit different than what the device actually looks like. So essentially, this is the only color available in the US. And as far as I can understand, is the 10L, 10 Pro is a US, the 10 5G will be a European standard. Now, let's look a little bit more about the specifications as we looked at before. The front-facing selfie camera is a 16 megapixel sensor. It is an HDR display, 6.53-inch Full HD IPS LCD panel. The primary sensor here is a 48 megapixel sensor. And one of the other cool features that they have here is the ability of connecting up to 4 Bluetooth connected devices to listen to the same content on this device. So if you want to be able to listen to music with your friends, this is definitely one of the devices you want to be able to do this. So we have dual tone LED flash on both the right and left. You can also use those as torches or flashlights. Of course, a fingerprint sensor here that we can use to unlock our device, which is really nice and very good. And it is one of the faster technologies, even though it's not used on many devices now. If you think about it, when you first pick up your device, the first thing you do is your hand and your index finger lands in that spot. So when you do that, you unlock the device. It also does support face unlock, and it does come pre-applied with a screen protector. I hope you can see right there. So you can see some of that in there. So it is definitely very nice. Again, and this is the box that we have here, TCL 10L. This is basically TCL USA, and it is available unlocked here on Amazon. Model number is, if I'm not mistaken here, okay, so it is basically called the Marina Blue color, which is very nice. And again, it is basically just the US model. So let's go ahead and open up the box. And so one of the comments that we're seeing here is, so Aditya is mentioning here, it says, for $250, the 48 megapixel sensor, that is a steal. And its sample images you posted on Twitter look really good. Anyways, getting a Gcam port for it. You know what? I'm actually looking into it. Yes, I'm actually trying to see if we can get a Gcam to work on the 6 series. There isn't that many 6 series devices that have it, although technically the Pixel 3a is a 670, not a 665. So Definitely, we'll be posting that as soon as I'm able to get that one working on it. And then, so if you're not familiar with Gcam is essentially a port of the Google camera that many devices can use as long as they're using a Snapdragon processor to augment the performance of the camera. But looking in the box itself, we have basically the instruction manual. There's a case. This is the one that we have here. It's basically made intentionally so that you do not have to worry about picking up a case at the time when you get your device. It does have this nice little basically display greatness. As you know, TCL makes displays. That's the biggest thing about them. And of course, it protects your device and you can still see your device through it. But that's pretty much what's in this box. And of course, this was just the wrapping, the covering for the phone. I'll put that on the side. And let's go ahead and switch over here. We have a USB Type-C to USB Type-A connector. That's going to help us to use the charger that's included in the box. So let's go ahead and open this up. It is a US style charger. Now, we don't have fast charging. We basically like a quick charge or so on. The 10 Pro does support that. But this one, if I'm not mistaken, supports, I think, 5 volt or 6 volts at, no, let me take that back. So yeah, it is. I think it is 5 volts at 2 amps. So standard wall charger. You should be able to also charge it directly from any USB port on your PC or any other charger, any other chargers that you guys may have at the home. So definitely very nice. Let's go ahead and put the stuff back in here, and we'll put this one away. The really cool thing about this device, on top of the fact that it sounds like there's lightning above me, is it's basically how they made it and how they were able to actually make the price point fit. So first and foremost, it is a fingerprint magnet. I do want to mention that, and that's one of the reasons why I like having the case on it. Fingerprint sensor, as I mentioned, there's no wireless charging on the back, but we do have that in really nice color in here, and it really just basically gives you a really good aesthetical appearance here and the way it works. On the left side, we have a volume rocker and, of course, a power button. That's going to be really nice to be able to initiate the display, turn it off. Everything looks fine. And, of course, as I mentioned to you guys, we have face unlock. So let's go ahead and unlock the device. I'll go ahead and swipe it up. And it works. Sorry, it's a little bit harder to show you guys, but let's go ahead and do it. So it definitely works really good. And of course, on the left side, we have a smart key. That's a function key that you're able to customize to whatever you'd like. And this is something that you can't really do much on many devices. So even if they did include that, like I've seen Samsung devices in the past where they've included it, but they've also programmed it to work for Bixby, and of course later on give us the functionality. We'll get a chance to check out how to actually customize it specifically there. On the top, not much other than one of the microphones positioned right there, and of course a 3.5mm headphone jack. Again, something that we don't even see on flagships today. On the bottom, we have one of the bottom firing speakers. That's the one on this side, which is technically when you're holding the device, the right side. A USB-C for data charge, as well as obviously audio if you'd like to use a speaker that way. Now, the second grill that we have here is primarily for symmetry, but realistically, it's housing one of the other microphones that you have here for the camera. Again, as I mentioned to you guys, the display is a 6.53-inch IPS LCD panel, which really works very nicely, specifically for the size and the price point that we're looking into it here. So as far as actually charging on this one, it took me a little over about an hour and a half as far as actually just going, and it wasn't zero, it was like about 2%. So Aditya is asking, have you done 0 to 100% charging? It does take a little bit longer. Again, a 5 volt to 2 amps, it's not very fast, so it's going to take us quite a bit of time to actually charge. That's one of the things that they did to actually tailor the experience to fit the $250 mark. Now, including a large battery helps us. The fact that it's a 1080p panel helps us. I think would have been really good if we were able to get, let's say, a large, basically, or fast charging on this one as well. But I'm not. The number I'm quoting you, Aditya, is I did the test on it the weekend that I got it, because I got the 10L first, and I got the 10 Pro about a week or so later. Oh man, okay, my internet is acting up again. I really need to I really need to call my internet provider and figure out what's going on. But I appreciate it letting me know, Aditya. So yeah, the device essentially is very, again, very large display, really good. And again, 1080p, so the battery will last you quite a bit. I've been able to basically go for at least a day and a half, and basically somewhere between 6 to 7 hours of screen on time on this device, which is easy to reach, specifically since it really is meant for media consumption. It's like a small TV, realistically, understanding also that, of course, this is obviously, a display in our hands. The UI is very nice. It's very customizable. It is running Android 10.0. So this is actually a video for a buddy of mine, Juan Carlos. He just put out a video today talking about ANC. This is the dual driver ANC Pro wireless review, true wireless review. Of course, we have Netflix support, Twitter, all the different notifications, toggles, and you can see definitely that dark mode is present here and it is supported. Different options, obviously, for screen recording, built-in screen recorded, built-in one-handed operation for shrinking the device from one-sided. Again, it's a large display, and of course, you're able to basically shift over. I guess you can see it works really nice. And of course, when we start looking here, we have NFC for payment, airplane mode, screenshot, of course, casting to any Chromecast-enabled devices, Wi-Fi. I don't have my SIM card in this one right now, but it does support LTE in the US. And I'll share with you guys a speed test that I did not that long ago. Let's go ahead and find the speed test app. If I'm not mistaken, I thought I had it on this one. I didn't actually get a I think overall speeds I was able to get roughly about 60 to 70 depending on the area that you're in. But again, basically customizable. You have the App Store here. It's categorized by sections. So you have media that's categorized automatically for you here. You have utilities and so on. And of course, you can search and basically add different things into the different categories. And of course, organize things by installation, usage, tablet, name, and so on. We have Android 10.0 native gestures built in. I've been actually using it mostly to watch basically things on, let's say, Netflix as well as Amazon Prime. And I'm actually catching up really, really good on the Carnival Row, which is really a very nice, addicting show if you're into that type of sci-fi experience there. But other than that, it works really nice. Let's go ahead and go into the settings real quick. Hopefully the frame rate is not dropping as much anymore. Overall, the categories are pretty much standard to Android 10.0. So network and internet, Bluetooth devices, as I mentioned, up to 4 devices connected at the same time using Bluetooth, which is really nice. Printing, of course, over network. And of course, let's jump over to the display, as again, this is one of the main features for this device. So first and foremost, you can hide the punch hole camera. It is present at the top left. So essentially, if you do want to do that, you can actually hide the hole or basically just not show it. Basically, depending on the application that you're using. Full screen applications, also very nice. You can turn them on. This is for F-Droid and so on, depending on what you're using. Brightness, dark mode, you can either have it automatic or scheduled. So depending on your preference, I like it to be on all the time. And of course, you can customize it to basically turn on at night or turn on during the times that you prefer it. Eye comfort mode, again, just basically takes out some of those blue colorings. David Burns, welcome back, welcome to the channel. And yeah, no, so the eye comfort section here is really good. Adaptive brightness, auto brightness, sleep, obviously as a standard, screensaver, and of course, ambient display, which is really nice. And that's what we saw initially when I pick up the device and actually look at it. So let's go ahead and do it here. You actually get direct access to the ambient display. So really good. Face unlock, shortcut for the camera and phone right here present on the bottom. Let's go ahead and unlock. And of course, takes us straight back in there. Let's go back real quick into the NTX Vision. So this is that tech that I was talking about that TCL is putting in here to basically give you the best experience. Again, even though this is a $250 phone or $249 phone, they're still trying to give you some of the best experiences. Now, out of the box, if you just don't turn it on, the images don't look too bad. But once you turn it on, there's that additional function where it basically saturates the image and give you just basically better colors in a representation. And we'll get a chance to look at those images. Now, you are able also to calibrate the display to your preference, as well as turn on sunlight display, which increases the brightness to work in outdoors lighting. I do want to mention, though, that if you do turn on NTX Vision, the Vivid option is the only one that's actually selected, and you're able to kind of tune it to go between cool and warm. So you can definitely basically control the level of saturation, I would say. Or you can basically go standard with the default. If you want to be able to change the other options, you do need to disable the visual enhancement, which is the NTX Vision. And at that point, you're able to jump into between Vivid and standard. There is an additional mode that is available on the Pro, but again, with the free one, well, with the 10L, I think it definitely works nicely. SDR to HDR upscaling for the content to be able to work really nicely and just definitely have better smoothing. The display is a 60 frames per second. The refresh rate that we have here is a 60 frames per second refresh rate. So keep in mind, no high refresh rate, but again, we have to understand the price point that we're looking into. So definitely, if you pick one of these guys up, make sure the first thing you do is go into NTX Vision, turn on SDR to HDR, as well as sunlight display so that it actually does increase the brightness level when you're outdoors. The next thing we're going to jump into is the home screen. So there's the home app. That's your launcher that we're using here. You are able to install other launchers, but they actually do include two. So there's the simple launcher, which essentially is just a simple version of the main launcher. We'll say allow, and say go. And I'm going to say simple launcher in Android Auto. So I'll go ahead and turn that on here. We'll say allow. I haven't been using it. That's one of the reasons. So you notice everything is basically big screen, big font. Everything's very simple. The dialer, friends, contacts, everything works really, really good. Again, if you prefer this option, you can turn it on. Otherwise, you can basically go standard, and that's the way I have it. I'm using the standard launcher, which essentially is built in, nice clock, some customization, and of course the Google Now feed on the left. We'll go back into settings. And let's go ahead and jump back in here. So we have wallpapers, themes. Of course, you can customize them. Home screen setting, that's the home launcher. So recents app, full empty cells. Of course, you can change the grid size. By default, it is set to be 5x5. I did increase it to 5x6, and of course, that you're able to fit more when you actually change it to 5x6. Let's go ahead and go back here. We'll go back. Swiping up and holding in the center takes you to recents. Of course, app icon badges, and of course, last but not least, home style here. You're able to basically have it as a home style and drawer and an app drawer, or you can just have one home drawer, home style, which means all of your applications sit on the page 2, 3, and 4. Personally, I like the app drawer. It keeps things a little bit more organized for me. But again, it is to your preference. Last but not least, lock screen preferences. You're able to basically customize. So lock screen style right now is a TCL style. You can go and change it to basically be more classic, which means you take away that widget that's present at the top. You notice as I unlock, there's that widget that's sitting at the top, and it is looking for my face and unlocks it. You can customize it to go back more closely resembling stock Android. Lock screen notifications, of course. Lock screen message if you want to be able to turn on. If you want to leave a message, hi, this is TK's phone, something like that, it will work fine. So all of these things are customizable under the home screen and wallpapers. Under the sound section, pretty much standard information here, not that much really special. Silent mode, of course, you can turn on. Vibration mode, all the stuff. The haptic engine or the vibration motor that we have here is, I wouldn't say is one of the better options on the market, but it is definitely good enough for what they're offering at $250. So only by comparison, because the 10 Pro is also something that I've used. I think the 10 Pro definitely has a better haptic feedback, but the 10L definitely has good enough for a budget phone, of course. Last but not least, you can just customize it, disable all the other options. If you don't want it to vibrate every time you touch something in there, as far as dial pad or so on, you can disable all of that stuff from there. The advanced feature gets us into a little bit more functional things that we have here that we normally don't see again. The system navigation is that function that I was able to turn on here to get into the basically Android's or stock Android experience. By default, when you first pick it up, it does come with buttons, and you can turn them on and switch them to your preference if you're right-handed or left-handed for the wherever you want to be able to put your recents application. For me, I like to use stock Android. It's nice, it's easy, and it's consistent. As if I'm switching from device to device, I like to make sure that my gestures work really nice. App Cloner is a really good functional app that allows you to actually basically copy the application into two versions. So if you have two Facebook accounts and you want to be able to use them on the same phone, this will create a second application of Facebook so you can log in separately. I do understand that Instagram does support multiple profiles built into it as an app, but it always is nice to be able to have them separate so you never actually have a confusion between which account you're in. So again, very much in there, and it only turns it on for the apps that are installed. Screen recorder, we talked about that. It's present here on the toggles. So right there, screen recorder. And you can, of course, go in there and customize the resolution all the way up to 1080p. You can include the microphone sound. Oh, sorry, we'll go ahead and put it in. You can either include the mic sound or muting. Keep in mind that the microphone sound will actually record external audio as well. So it's not just recording the audio from the device. Gestures, pretty much those are nice little functions to enable the kind of smart experience. So flip to mute, very nice, very well. Like if you ever get a call and if your phone is on the table, flipping it over on the other side automatically mutes the call. 3-finger screenshots, very nice. You can actually swipe it and you get the screenshot right there. Split screen gesture, basically swipe up with 3 fingers, and that'll basically, if the app or the system that you're in allows you, you can jump into split screen. Quick launch camera by basically quickly pressing the button, and of course tap to wake. One thing I do want to mention here is that the functional button that we talked about here is something that we still have to get into that setting option. And we have another nice comment from Aditya. So regarding the charging, does the phone have something similar to Sony where if the phone fast charges during regular charging hours, so adaptive charging, especially overnight. On the 10L, we don't have that. That's actually, if it's available, it's only available on the 10 Pro, mostly because that supports the faster charging. 5 volts at 2 amp is actually not fast enough for it to even to start damaging. It's more of the, I would say, the slow and steady kind of charging experience, as opposed to, basically gun blazing. Let's go ahead and charge it up as fast as possible. So weird enough, though, mentioning the basically battery health and experience, I do have a device that is supposed to basically go from 0 to 100 in about 36 minutes or so. So that's something to keep in mind. Hopefully, maybe in the near future, if it starts selling on Amazon, we'll be able to do one there. But yeah, no, this one does not actually have that feature, Aditya. It actually only includes the 5 volt 2 amp charging. So essentially, it's going to be more of a consistent charge, and it does not overheat. There's no fast charging on this one. The other thing that obviously we're looking here is as far as one-handed mode, we looked at it as well. Game mode is really functional because it adds some nice functions built into, obviously, block notifications. Yeah, that's generally what it's called, adaptive charging. And we'll get into the battery section, and I'll show you guys what we have in there as far as charging capabilities. Constant brightness, as well as block notification. Basically double check the gesture, of course. Disable 3-finger screenshot, smart key. You can either disable it or keep it active. Game turbo for extra, obviously, performance. Optimized network and clean background apps. Automatically can be triggered whenever you're playing a game. Driving mode is something that just basically enables to basically do things to help you stay focused on the drive. If you're using Android Auto, I would recommend you just focusing using on there, and as it works really nicely. Now, here is the smart key that I talked to you guys about, right there at the top left, or in the middle, technically. You have the ability of customizing it in 3 different ways. You have single press, double press, and of course, press and hold. Right now, for me, single press initiates the assistant. So I press that, it launches the assistant, and that's something that I'm able to use. If I want to be able to basically use the double press, which essentially is the flashlight, so let's go ahead and do that. I can turn it on, and you can see here both flashlights or both LED lights turn on, and it is very, very bright. Very bright, especially for a phone that has 2 LEDs. And of course, if I press and hold, I can just press and hold there, leave it, and it automatically takes a screenshot. Of course, I can always set it up to be whatever I want, either something to do under the assistant, the camera application, taking a selfie, take a shot, gallery application, of course, do different things in there. And yeah, what you get there is the ability of customizing it to almost a lot of other options. And if all of these things can be customized, and you can disable it when you're playing games so you don't have any problems. So those are nice features, of course, under the advanced features. And of course, Smart Manager. Now, Smart Manager is the built-in, I would say, app cleaner into the system. Which also enables you to basically control certain things in the notification panel. If you don't want to be able to see them, you can disable them so they can never show up there. Memory, again, as we mentioned here, there's about 3 gigs memory free right now. You can also disable some applications from going off in there. Will this phone ever get Android 11? Yes. This actually, it's been guaranteed. TCL made a statement saying that it will definitely get at least one version of Android upgrade. So, I mean, it is currently on Android 10. By the way, this is a question that just came in from David Burns in the comments. And what essentially they're promising is Android 11 for sure, and 2 years worth of security updates. So even though they're not saying they're going to give it Android 12 or the next version of Android after Android 11, it is guaranteed to get Android 11 as well as 2 years worth of security patch updates. So definitely not going to be missed out. And my understanding is that TCL is trying to find a way to basically support it even longer. So hopefully that answers the question for you, David. I appreciate you commenting on that one. Let's go ahead and unlock. And of course, auto start, we can go in there and disable certain things or make sure that they do run. And of course, battery level, 4,000 milliamp battery, 122 hours. This is how much we have left. Now, super saving, power saving mode here, normal saving mode, super saving, and of course, battery details. We don't have, again, the adaptive brightness here, battery optimizations, battery percentage, battery saver, but we don't have adaptive charging. So that's something that we don't have currently. Again, the charger is not as fast. So hopefully that answers your question, Aditya, in there. The smart key sound, yeah, it is definitely. So Aditya is mentioning here in the comments that the smart key sounds very useful. Why don't more manufacturers actually incorporate it into their devices? And I think it's because mostly a lot of them are trying to go minimalistic. They've added devices have added multiple functionalities into the power button, where they've used it to initiate the assistant as opposed to adding another button. But I feel like this is the way it was done. Or I feel like this is actually the better way to implement it. It's giving us the button and allowing us to customize it to what we want. because there's so many ways to initiate things. And as you saw, the list of things that you can do with the smart key is really just very, very extensive. So I wish Samsung would do that. Samsung did have this button, and I think they've kind of gone away from it. They've incorporated the function here into what is currently the power button. But again, I think as Aditya is mentioning here, but in the comments, of course, I think it's much better for us to have it, and of course, appreciated the way it's working this way. So that was basically what we had on the Smart Manager. Security, pretty much standard. You can set up your face unlock, your fingerprint, as well as the face key, essentially what they're calling, and of course the smart lock if you want to be able to enable automatic unlocking via connected Bluetooth devices. Private space is built in here, and you can customize it to your preference to be able to customize the experience, and of course keep things a little bit more private even on the device in case you do share it. App lock, very similar. You lock an application with a pin or a fingerprint. Device admin, of course, trusted agent, and an app with usage access. You can just set them up in there. Jumping over to location, that's pretty much standard. Location access, recent location access, and what you want to be able to customize. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning, of course, as well as app permissions. A lot of things basically are very much standard in Android. Under the application, pretty much the same thing. Oops. Let me go ahead and jump back one more time. We have Smart Manager, and NTX Vision, Prime Video, as you saw here. I was playing the video right before we started. App permission, default apps. This is going to be where you can customize the browser, the launcher. The home screen essentially is the launcher. The phone app, the SMS app as well. It does actually use Google Messages. So that's one of the cool things. And they also use, so Chrome is the default one. The camera, the phone app, of course, SMS, and of course, Tap to Pay is Google Pay right now. I don't think it actually supports anything other than Google Pay at this point. Special app access, screen time, and of course, default application. We talked about those there. Let's go ahead and jump back real quick. Last thing here is, again, 64 gigs of internal storage. Now, out of those 64, I've used about 25 gigs so far. And of course, you're able to basically free up some stuff. As you see here, I've installed a few games, about almost 7 gigs worth of games, other applications, and the system did actually take about 13 gigs initially. I did receive one update to this actually since I received it. So there has been one official OTA update that was pushed out. My understanding is that hopefully, again, Android 11 will be coming out as soon as it becomes available. So quick, another comment from Aditya real quick. So I apologize for the tangents. Does the display mode have a black and black and white mode? Oh, the reading mode. I think that's what you're talking about. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it's, where is it? I think I saw it somewhere. Yes, I think it does. Let's go into the display. We'll go into a little bit higher. So let's go ahead and double check here. I want to say I saw it. Dark mode, eye comfort, adaptive. Let's go back here. Let's call it reading. You know what? I may be confusing the different versions of it. I think this one did have one, or I think I just didn't. I don't. Oh, here it is, reading mode. So always enable. So sorry, yeah. So I did see it. It is sitting under the NTX Vision. So that's something that you'll be able to see it. If you jump under NTX Vision, there is a reading mode. Optimize the screen to make reading experience more comfortable, like ebook readers. So essentially here, you can add the application and enable always. You can turn it on, as you can see right there. It kind of became almost monochromic. It's hard to tell on your end, but for me, the color shift is basically gone very, very strong. So it definitely makes it more, it doesn't go black and white, but definitely more e-reader experience. So hopefully you can see it right there. So I'll do it once. You see kind of it turned a little bit gray for you. It's a lot more grayish for me, but I think it's the way the exposure is set on the camera. It doesn't look as well. But yeah, definitely present right there. Dave Burns, a quick question there. Is NFC good for? Is NFC good on a phone, or does it fail often? For me, I've been using it mostly for pairing. I haven't actually used it with Google Pay, so for that, it's been working great. So I've paired it to my Sony headphones, which have NFC pairing, and they've worked very nice. App pages, yes. So that's also very different than some of the other devices where you normally have the dark mode or the reading mode initiated automatically. You can turn it on and off, but here you can customize it by app. So if you say you have the Amazon Kindle application that's built in, you can automatically have it turned on every time you open the Kindle app. Very nice and very functional. Of course, very easy to set up. But it is a little bit I think the placement should have been under display, not under NTX Vision. But I do understand why it's sitting here. It's essentially it's an optimization to the display. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so sorry, David, before I go too far, as I mentioned, yes, not a problem with the NFC. I haven't had any problems as far as pairing things with it. Also using it to do Beam, so transferring information, but I haven't had to use Google Pay on it. I would imagine as long as you have a good contact, I mean, the backing is not made out of glass. This is actually plastic. Hope you guys can actually hear it there. So there should be no issue in as far as connectivity and having it work well. Let's jump back into, so account, obviously this is my account. Digital well-being is typical, you can turn it on. Parental control, you can also set it up, and this is something that's supported with other devices that run Android 9.0. So if you have an Android 9.0 device or an Android 10, this is going to work great, as well as I think also with Android 11. Google accounts, this is just services, and of course accessibility in there. Under system, I do want to mention to you guys, sorry, real quick. So the model number is the T770B. That's the actual device. And of course, under updates, we are running version 2.0.3 CEM. Checking for updates, and if I'm not mistaken, still no updates. Yeah, because we're running the latest version. It is running Android 10.0, and again, that's basically using the TCL UI, which is the launcher that's built in here. And other than that, I think we're okay. Joke time with TCL. Sorry, this is Dave Burns jumping in there. Get a brand deal with TCL and have honey boo boo themes and skins. No. That would be, yeah, that's sponsored by Honey Boo Boo. No, I think it definitely, overall, what you're getting here is a very minimalistic, even though it kind of is a customized launcher and a customized experience. You do have the ability of customizing your theme. Of course, the overall experience is actually very nice. I would say very, very minimalistic, and it runs really nicely on the Snapdragon 665. So the one thing you want to keep in mind, again, the 665 is a mid-tier, or basically a mid-range style processor. We've seen something like the 670 that's present on the Pixel 3a from Google last year. And of course, we have the 675 that's present on the TCL 10 Pro. Now, as far as video, and I do want to show you guys a quick video just to kind of show you how it looks like, but I am going to take off the audio because of copyright. I don't want to initiate things that are not part of, obviously, what you're expected to see here. I'm going to show a quick clip here. Let's go ahead and open up, and this is just mostly to show you guys how the images, or how does the video look like. And here, obviously, we'll need to pick a better scene, and we are something a little bit more like there. So this is basically just a quick scene directly from I think it's pretty self-explanatory what this show is. You could definitely see the coloring, the presence there. Let's go ahead and jump over. I want to show you here, and of course you could see you can customize the experience. The overall, it does have a slightly darker tones on the sides when you're looking at it. And again, this is just a very dark scene. Let's see if we can bring something a little bit better, something a little bit more colorful, so you can actually appreciate the colors here. And we'll go ahead and play here. That one is not available yet. Let's see here. Can we get something to run? Here we are. And here, there's another one. You can definitely see, again, how it looks. And of course, you can actually zoom in and fill it up, and it looks really, really nice. So again, video on this is not going to be... This is actually an HD. So for David Burns, it is not Dolby Vision certified. It is actually just a standard HDR. HDR10 is present on the 10 Pro. So the 10 Pro, for an additional couple of hundred, I think, does support the Dolby Atmos. The HDR10 support there, which is really nice. And you can definitely appreciate that, as that one has the AMOLED display panel, where this one has an IPS panel. Not that it's an issue as far as overall performance, but I think it's something to keep in mind. Again, at $250, there are certain things, obviously, that we cannot just necessarily expect from it. But of course, having an HDR IPS LCD panel still is very, very nice. And you could see really good. I forgot to mention that if I press and hold here, I'm able to change the themes, the wallpaper, the widget, as well as the home screen settings. And of course, customize the experience there. So that was the video experience. Let's go ahead and turn on the speaker. Let's go ahead and play a quick song. And I think I'm pretty sure everybody already knows which song we're going to play. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, it's Jumbo by Alex Scrindo. It is an NCS release, which essentially is just a no copyright song. Let's go ahead and turn it off here. We'll turn off the free service there. And I'm going to be running it at 100%. So yes, David. Sorry. So David Burns is asking I didn't realize that the L model or the TCL 10L is an LCD panel. I love my TCL. Yes. So definitely, yeah, no, that's one of the compromises that they were doing is they went with an IPS LCD. And of course, as you can see also, I forgot to mention at the beginning is that this is also a flat display. It has some curvature on the side here as far as the actual back. So when you're holding it, you definitely have a better grip. But as far as the display, where the 10 Pro is a curved display, the 10L is a flat display. And of course, an earpiece. It is mono speaker, and I went ahead and turned on the volume all the way high. And we'll go ahead and play a little bit of music for you guys to enjoy and just to see how the volume on this goes up. Doesn't sound too bad. It does actually get loud enough as far as for, obviously for calls and so on. Unfortunately, the sound, as you could hear, it is not the best speaker on the market. I would probably say it gets a little bit, the sound sounds a little bit too blown up as far as at the highs when you hit 100%. And this is why I recommend you listening into music using the 3.5mm headphone jack or the Bluetooth. For general, just phone call, for speaker phone calls, I think the speaker would work very nicely. So Andy's coming into the chat. Welcome, Andy. And the processor on this, the Snapdragon 665. It is a mid-tier processor. So this one is running at 665, and then of course the 10 Pro is running the 675. Hopefully that's what that answers your question there. David Burns. No one ever said that the LG boombox, that it's going to be an LG boombox. But that's not bad for 250. I agree, Dave. Exactly, David. I think the main thing is to set our expectations to what this device is offering us for what price point. For 250, again, I think for speakerphone conversations, this is going to be perfectly fine. If you're going to basically, if you're considering using it to listen to music, I recommend you using the 3.5mm headphone jack present. Again, you have one on this, which is very rare to start with, and of course, or the Bluetooth up to 4 devices at the same time using the device. Yeah, no, again, Aditya is explaining it, commenting again one more time. We appreciate that. Very usable audio, and it definitely sounds good enough. And I think if you're just wanting to listen to music, watching a movie with it, I don't see any reason why you can't. But I'm just saying for the overall optimal experience, I think, yeah, the headphone jack, of course. The courage port, David Burns. Yeah, no, it is definitely I would say a unique feature at this point. At $250, that's a pretty, again, you can't really argue too much with the features that you're getting with it. Now, speaking of the $250, obviously, since this is, we have the Google Assistant built in, all the Amazon services will work perfectly fine. Google Play services are preloaded in there. I did launch some games and I did play some games. Obviously, I do want to be able to say that I've obviously tested it. I do want to share with you guys quickly a benchmark that I ran on this, just to kind of give you also a personal preference. So here it is, a history. So overall, just from a score point, you'll get about 310 on the single core, 1340 on the multi-core, and of course, as you can imagine, the 675 on the 10 Pro will obviously operate a little bit better. And of course, it's not bad, but again, mid-tier, good pricing, and of course, good performance. Last but not least, as far as internal storage, it is not running UFS 3.0, but I do want to share with you guys real quick some read and write tests that I also did perform in here. Very comparable to be able to obviously accommodate the speeds that we have in here. Very nice, very easy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the camera, because obviously we want to know how does the cameras and how do things actually work out of this. Is it decent? Does it work the way it's supposed to? So first and foremost, as we talked about at the beginning, we have a standard focal length, a 48 megapixel sensor, and of course we have a wide angle lens. So I'm able to jump into the wide angle lens right here, and of course I can actually just basically show, obviously, this is the wide angle lens and this is the standard focal length. So really good. And of course, now, even though we don't have a telephoto lens, you notice right there, we jumped into 2 times. That's actually available to us mostly because of the fact that this device has a high sensor. So because it's a 48 megapixel sensor, we're able to actually crop into that 48 and still get almost a lossless zoom without necessarily needing to have a telephoto lens. So we have 4 cameras in the back, 48 megapixel, that's the main sensor, the wide angle lens, a macro lens, as well as a depth sensor. So that's going to be for those bokeh images. We have obviously the ability of going in different options. We have slow motion, stop motion imagery, and of course light tracing, panorama, and of course high pixel is where it's using the full sensor. So if you want to be able to take pictures for printings and so on, this is going to be really, really good. David Burns, gotta go, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you guys again on Saturday morning. So yes, thank you, actually. Thank you for plugging that one in, David. I do run a Saturday Morning with Tech podcast over on my YouTube channel. And of course, if you guys like to check it out and jump in there, please make sure to check it out. It is available on Amazon. Well, sorry, it is not available on Amazon yet. I'll find a way, hopefully, at some point. But it is under TK Bay over on YouTube. And of course, Saturday Mornings with Tech at basically about 10:30 a.m. Saturday Pacific Standard Time. Yes, definitely. Cheers, David. And yeah, so jumping back to the camera, so this will be basically where you're able to get the high megapixel count there. Under the video section, we are obviously able to jump in. We have a couple of options that we can jump into. So let's go ahead and jump into the resolution. We do have 4K, which is really nice. 4K at 30 frames per second on the back sensor. 1080p has 30 frames per second, 720p and 40p. So you notice basically there is no 60 frames per second. That is partially due to the processor. So the fact that we have 4K is actually very appreciated. We do have EIS, no OIS, so electronic image stabilization. So it is electronically controlled to try to stabilize the video. Storage, obviously, if you're not using a memory card, you're obviously going to be storing here, save location. By default, when you first get the device, it does have shutter sound on. I did need to disable that. There's also a second section here under the photo section where you're able to turn off the watermark. So just kind of a little bit of a heads up. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just mostly just something you want to keep in mind. And you're able to turn on and turn off the audio, of course. Portrait mode, that's when we start using that depth sensor in the back, and you're able to basically configure basically the depth information as when you're taking a picture. And of course, you're able to customize basically the storage, the grid. I like to turn that on. Touch to capture, volume button is also used as a shortcut. So I can actually use the volume rocker as opposed to have the finger gymnastics down to the bottom. Super macro, really good. Again, gives us the ability of using that macro lens, that one macro lens that we have present there. And this actually gives you the ability of just doing those really nice, like zoomed in image. So you can definitely see here, you can get really close to your subject, and especially with this kind of like artistic images. So let's go ahead and do it here. We'll kind of make the mouse look like a little armadillo. So yeah, definitely very unique, very good. Depending, I think macro lenses are actually also, unique in their experience. We do have a pro mode, photo only, no video, so just be aware of that. And of course, you don't have a way of using the wide angle lens in the pro mode. You're just primarily using the 48 megapixel sensor to control basically your ISOs, your exposures, and so on. Looks really good. Let me see if I can actually bring in some images for you guys. And as we're doing that, let me go ahead and jump back into the live stream. I do have some of the images because I just finished doing the review for it. So it's sitting in here, and if I'm not mistaken, here we are, 10L, camera, and let me do this one. So here we are. Let's go open this. And I'm going to go ahead and bring you over to the right side of the external display. So this was an image. Hopefully it's coming out really nice. That's one of my cats. It's Snowball, one of our big cats actually that we have here. And let me go ahead and just jump back into the screen here. And of course, we want to be able to see some of those images there. So let's go ahead and do this. Here, this is a quick bokeh image that I took myself here in my backyard. And of course, some nice images. Let's go ahead and switch over here. Again, for a 48 megapixel sensor with good enough light, I think it's going to work really, really good. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't perform very nicely for you guys. Last but not least here, I want to show you guys real quick. It's like more of a big nature shot. This was a 48 megapixel sensor image. And you could use this mostly just to kind of, again, if you want to do big prints, nature shots, it looks really good. And of course, gives you the ability of enjoying the content that you're doing. Jumping over real quick here. Here we are. I do want to jump into specifically here. Yeah, so here we are. So here's the standard image. Sorry, let's go ahead and open it up one more time. And So Aditya is wondering if it does actually support. So it doesn't actually, unfortunately. It does support full 448 megapixel as far as full frame using the full power of the sensor, but unfortunately no RAW support at this point. This is actually the standard focal length, and of course this is just a wide angle lens. Of course this is the 2 times telephoto, so you can understand that you appreciate the difference here. So standard, and of course wide angle, and last but not least is telephoto. Where was the other one? So over the weekend, I took my family with me and we went walking, and we actually had a chance to actually walk around the actual neighborhood. It was a nice sunny day. You could appreciate the colors and the images that you're looking here. Here's this just a wide angle lens. We'll give it a second to load. Quick image here with the bridge, some daisies, of course. Nice colors with flowers. You could see the detail in here. So let's go ahead and see if we can zoom in a little bit here. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at here. So you could definitely appreciate the colors, the detail in the information. Again, in good lighting, I haven't had any problem being able to take great pictures with it. It does not support a night mode, as you probably noticed when we were going through the images, mostly because that's actually only present on the Pro at this point. Last one I want to share with you guys real quick is if you weren't hungry enough, that was actually a picture from a local bakery in my area that was serving bagels. And I figured, why not? I'll share with you guys all the different types of bagels that they offer. Very nice. And of course, like I said, the images on this look really good. Video on this also looks really great. Let me see if I'm able to get you guys a quick video here and see if we're able to show that without any issues. So let's go ahead and open here, open there, post it on this side. Bring it over. So here's a quick sample. This is a 4K 30 frames per second shot. Myself walking again, same day with the family, and just giving you guys a quick experience of what it looks like. Very good and very clear. Again, just cannot really complain at all about this. Again, it is the reds on it. Definitely, it's trying to oversaturate as far as the colors that you get there. But I appreciate the fact that it works really nicely. Again, $250, no problem at all. Sharing this with anybody in the family as a main device, as what you'd like for them to use. The overall impressions of this device after using it for last. And Aditya is wondering one more. Sorry, let me just go and make sure to bring it in front of me here because I don't want to miss any comments. Aditya is wondering here is does it have EIS or only or OIS as well? According to the system, there is no OIS at all. I haven't seen a single OIS reference in the content, and it is EIS. And you can kind of a little bit see that with the when I was doing the walk. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like doing walks as opposed to a standing and moving or a pan shot when I'm showing a 4K shot or video on a smartphone. The stabilization isn't bad. It's not the best. And again, as it is an EIS, and so obviously it's using electronic image stabilization. And of course, the processor is not one of the fastest processors. You're going to get, I would say, basically the best experience at 4K 30, and that's why we don't have 4K 60. So yeah, EIS only, no OIS, but definitely something that you can appreciate at the $249.99. So overall impressions and what do I think about this? Do I recommend this to anybody as far as picking up a device like this for $250? I think this is a great device if you're on a budget or if you want to have basically, let's say, a second device that you want to be able to use for just media consumption. I think for $250, we have a large 6.5-inch Full HD display with NTX vision, which gives us that really good experience. We are getting a 2-year warranty with this, and of course we are getting a 1-year warranty with a 2-year update on the software, as well as obviously Android 11 will be upgraded on this device, so you're not going to miss out on Android 11. Sorry, real quick comment from Aditya. I don't want to miss that one. So his video looks good. Yes, if you use Google stabilization, exactly. So that was one thing a lot of us really appreciate. The Google Photos application on any device you can actually use even if you don't have it installed on your smartphone, an Android phone, or even iOS, does actually support stabilization for video. And you're able to basically take the video, whatever video you've taken, and basically run it through the stabilization functionality built into Google Photos, and you're able to get that buttery smooth video straight out of the device. So if you're getting a little bit of a stutter, like you saw some of the ones when I was actually moving those steps, you can actually fine tune those out directly out of the phone, and it works really good. We do not have MHL support on this, so it will not project the display out. And I will show you guys what I mean. And here, so this basically when I connect the device, we'll go ahead and put it in. I'll unlock it, and I'll give it a second. It goes cuckoo crazy here. So notes. So if I'm not mistaken here, let's switch over. there is no display out. So that was my display out. I was just trying to make sure to confirm that for you guys. So yeah, definitely very nice for $250. I think the cameras are pretty good. The front-facing camera is actually pretty decent. You're able to take basically 1080p video on the front-facing camera, which is not bad. 4K 30 frames on the main sensor on the back, the 48 megapixel sensor. And I think in good lighting overall, it actually performs well. I don't see a reason why this should not be a good device for, let's say, a parent, a family member, a younger sibling, like a first-time smartphone for anybody, as you're able to get a good experience, but don't have to worry too much about the dollars. And of course, if you're on a budget, this is definitely going to make it a really good, hard to beat kind of a deal, especially with the fact that, again, for $249.99, you're getting TCL, you're getting a year up, the next Android update, you're getting 2 years worth of software, security patch update, and of course, they are promising to try to provide more updates and more support for this. It is unlocked, which makes it very nice to change between two different carriers. It does support an SD card. It has a 3.5mm headphone jack. And of course, as we saw before, we have reading mode, we have NTX vision, we have a game mode specifically there. Gaming on this is actually not bad. The only thing I would probably say is you're not going to be playing it at the max resolution. So for me with PUBG, I was able to play it. It worked really nicely. I haven't had any problem overall with the overall experience on the game. Let me see if I actually have, I think I have, if I'm not mistaken, a screen recording, a video recording, the gameplay that I had on this. See if we have this still running in. Actually, it did stop right before. I do have one on another device. Sorry, yeah, I don't have it on this one. Actually, real quick before we go too far, I do want to show you guys here. So on PUBG, the maximum resolution you're able to get is high and smooth. So that's one thing. It's limited due to the factor that it's the 665 processor. So that's something. Just again, not that it's a problem. I'm just showing you guys so that you're aware of it. If you're a big PUBG gaming fan like I am, I like PUBG, of course. I think this is something you need to be aware of. But it did not have a problem playing a game for an extended amount of time. I think gameplay on this was also really good. Touch response is okay. I think it's one of the good ones. Not going to be the best situation. Again, I think personally headphones work better as far as audio. So when you're listening to audio, especially because of PUBG and the gaming experience, you want to be aware of all of the experiences going around you. Headphones and wireless headphones will definitely be the options. Although headphones will have the ones that will give you there's obviously no latency there. Obviously, wireless headphones will have a small amount of latency. But again, to summarize things, for $250, available on Amazon with Prime, should be back in stock. Let me go ahead and switch over here. And boom, 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 boom. I didn't realize how many we did here. So yeah, let's switch back over. So for $250, again, it'll be back in stock on the 25th. As you can imagine, a lot of people bought these. For $250, it's really hard to miss. Sorry, just got a little bit of liquid libation there. And again, available on Prime, and it should be able to be hopefully delivered by the 27th through the 30th, depending on where you are. Main sensors, a lot of great features, good gaming experience, and of course, also really good. Let me double check real quick. We have one more comment for how is the audio, like the preset EQ settings or in built-in DAC? So overall, no built-in DAC. I think they're using the built-in Snapdragon audio processing. I think overall, from a sense of audio experience, I think I would say it's good audio. It's hard to explain. If I had to compare it to a really good audio processing, like the way we see it on the LG devices, I think it's definitely not in the same gaming experience. There is no dedicated DAC. They are using the built-in audio processing, so I think overall it is as good as what Qualcomm is able to provide us at, basically with the 6 series. It sounds good. It's good enough spaciousness when you're playing games. So overall, obviously there's no latency and everything. But unfortunately, I would say not very hi-fi quality audio. There is no presets in the audio settings at all for built-in EQ. You would need to download like a third-party EQ application if you'd like to do so. Unless your music player doesn't have a built-in EQ. Like I think Tidal has one built-in, but this one, unfortunately, it's lacking on some of those features. I think we'll definitely enjoy more seeing the stuff that we see with the 10 Pro next week as we bring that into the actual live stream here. Let me just make sure to switch back to the live stream so I don't use it. And then here, yeah. I think by comparison to Xiaomi devices, I think it sounds as almost, I would say, as good. I haven't seen. I wouldn't say that the experience is bad. It's hard to quantify it with words when it's more of a point of reference. So if you have to compare it to Xiaomi device, I think it works as good. Most of those devices are using the same this type of processing. They're relying on the processor and the audio codec, not the audio codec, but the audio processing on the SoC. So as long as it's integrated and it does a good enough job, I think the 6 series do well. I feel like the 7 series will do better. And of course, the 8 series will have much better audio processing for more hi-fi audio quality. But I think the 6 series, what we get here, I think is good audio, obviously for just normal music. And again, depending on what you're listening to, if you have a player that has a built-in EQ, you're able to fine-tune it a little bit more. But built into the actual system here, we do not have a built-in EQ, and there is no other than basically controlling the volume. There's not much as far as control. I think those are the things that we always kind of miss out, those little details when we jump into premium or even mid-tier. And I think the Pro will definitely give us a lot more functionalities in there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, most good Android music players have built-in EQs that you're able to customize the experience. So that should be a good solution as well. Yeah, it's a little bit hard without actually doing like a full-on audio test with as far as basically doing a demo as far as audio. I can say that for me, when I was playing games, I chose that mostly over actually using the standard audio on the speaker, and that was a really good experience. Did listen to some music, some dance, some high treble, obviously acoustic as well as instrumental, and to me it was obviously it was good enough, but it didn't feel like obviously it was competing anywhere close to what let's say an LG V60 can do, or any of the LGs with the dedicated quad DACs built into there. So definitely not 24-bit audio. We're not talking about 16-bit. I would just say basically it's good enough audio for obviously a headphone jack that is included in the box. So that may be hopefully a better way of saying it. Last one. Let's see. On a related note, isn't Friday the last day of fasting? So all clues are pointing that tomorrow is the last day. So, but we don't know 100%. They'll basically announce it tomorrow. So essentially tomorrow may be the last day of Ramadan, and hopefully, and if it is, then Eid Mubarak to everybody. If it isn't, and Saturday is the last day, then we'll celebrate on Sunday. Either way, here in the U.S., Monday is a holiday for us, so it's a nice long weekend for most of us staying safe at home. So definitely appreciate that. But yeah, thank you, Aditya, for reminding me. It's almost a month. Time has flown by, and I think that's one thing that'll also probably change for us for next week, when the live stream won't be actually as late as 8:30. So it'll probably be coming up around 7 to 7:30. So it'll be about an hour earlier than what we started today, but still on Thursday nights. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, if you are not familiar with who I am, make sure you check me out over on Instagram. Sorry, we'll start it off. TK Bay on YouTube. That's just TKBAY, like San Francisco Bay. And of course, TKDSL 8655 on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. I definitely want to say thank you very much to David and Aditya for hanging out with me for the live stream. I really always fun to have the crew. Definitely pretty much Team TK and Juan Carlos Becnel. Always appreciated. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. So Aditya is actually ahead of me. It's European time, so it's Friday morning for him. So yeah, it may already be the last day, but we'll for me, I think from what I understand, Aditya, I think it's going to be we're waiting for midday tomorrow for them to kind of. Again, if you're not familiar, they basically need to see the moon, and if it looks like a next month started in the I guess in the next month after Ramadan, it's going to definitely basically mean that Ramadan is over, and if it doesn't, then we have one more day. So it's either 29 or 30 days, but we'll have to see. All the information, as you guys have seen there, are below the video. Make sure to check out the TCL 10L. I do want to say thank you very much to TCL for allowing me to check out the 10L and sending me this unit for review. And of course, thank you very much to Amazon for allowing me to be part of the Amazon Influencer Program, and for me to be able to actually help you guys and share with you guys all the cool information and bringing in all the smartphone technologies and so on. Next week, for sure, will be the TCL 10 Pro. I am expecting an update that was supposed to be pushed out to this device, to the 10 Pro, that will help us get a little bit, some new features in there, hopefully. And that was the reason mostly why I decided to go with the 10L first, not the 10 Pro. And then again, like and subscribe here, follow on the channel, check out some of the other videos that I've done. And with that being said, have a safe night. Thank you, Aditya. And of course, thanks to David for being with us. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week on another live stream here on Amazon, the live stream as well. Cheers, Aditya, and good night. And be safe, my friend. Be safe.